song begins with a guy walking out the front door of this house and leaving behind this woman, and but the more he begins to leave people behind in his life, the more he feels like he's leaving himself behind as well, and the less and less substantial he feels like he's becoming to himself. And that's sort of what the song's about, because he feels like even as he disappears from the lives of people, he's disappearing more and more from his own life. And the chorus is, he sort of keeps sort of screaming out these idioms, these sort of lessons that your mother might say to you when you were a kid, sort of child lessons, you know. Around here we always stand up straight, carving out our names. Things that you're told when you're a kid are the things that you do these things, and when you're grown up, it'll add up to something. You know, you'll have a job, you'll have a life, and I think for me, and for the character in the song, they don't add up to anything. It's just a bunch of crap, kind of. Your life comes to you or doesn't come to you, but those things, they didn't really mean anything. And by the end of the song, he's so dismayed by this that he's sort of screaming out that he gets to stay up as late as he wants and nobody makes him wait. The sort of things that are important if you're a kid. You know, that you don't have to go to bed. You don't have to do anything. But the sort of things that they don't make any difference at all when you're an adult. They're nothing. This is a song about me.
I really identified with the band. I really identified with that kind of music, and I was in a band at this point, so when he died, I felt like it really seemed like you lost something. And it just seemed at that moment like everything was really impermanent. Everything was really temporary and momentary. That your idols die, and the girls you're with, they're not there a day later. This girl, she was gonna be gone. And then it's a lot of times because you don't give that much of yourself to your life, and so your life comes and goes and passes without you really holding on to any one part of it. And so I was thinking about that earlier this year when we wrote this song, about just how much your fault it is for not giving so much of yourself into your own life, so that it just passes you by, and you can't hold on to any of it. And that's what this song is about. It's called Richard Manuel is Dead.
But the truth is that it's a weird thing, you know. All of a sudden, the whole world's different. People look at you differently. People treat you differently. You know, if you woke up on Mars, you'd have trouble with the gravity too for a little while. You know, you adjust. I adjusted, but there was a period where I had a really hard time. And one of the things that happens is that you have all these big things that happen to you in your life. And when the sort of thing that happens to us happens, and you begin to pile up big experiences. But I think sometimes you don't get to keep any of the little ones that are really important. Like in the song, the person says, I remember all the little things that make up a memory. Like she said she loved to watch me sleep. Like she said, it's the breathing in and out and in. And I realized that I wasn't really getting to keep any of the really little memories like that, and that it may be an angry song in some forms, but it's also a really sad song about the small things in your life that you lose track of. And it's called Have You Seen Me Lately? Faith is a weird thing. It in a sense is all about waiting. It's not actually about getting anything, you know. Faith is about the wait. And because once you get something, there's no need anymore. And so a lot of having faith is just the willingness to sort of throw yourself on a fence and hang there for a while. That's a very difficult and bitter thing, you know. In this song, I keep saying the main character, I said, all my sins, I would pay for them if I could come back to you. It's not just about finding things to believe in. It's about wanting to be able to believe in anything too. And it's about all the voices that get inside your head and whisper to you to do it or not to do it as well. And it's called Angels of the Silences.
If you've ever dated, is exactly how it works. One of you is completely insane, and the other one gets exactly what they deserve.
Years later, when we were making hard candy, I pulled open a drawer, and in it was this picture. I hadn't seen it in a long time, of a girl just outside of New York City in a ridiculous yellow hat out by the water. It was a really nice memory because that was a really nice night. She was a really great girl. And like a lot of memories, it was a really sad memory because it was just something out of the past. That's the thing about stuff like that. Even the best memories kind of suck because they're not around anymore. Sort of sweet, sort of bittersweet. Like candy. It's just called hard candy.
I read an article once. And I was on the cover of this magazine. And it said I was dating this girl that I had never met before in my life. She was very, very beautiful and very, very famous. But I had never even met her. I've still never met her. I'm fairly certain I will never meet her. But I started imagining, what if it were true? What would it be like to know someone like that? Coming from her situation, so famous. And I just started to, I think, imagine myself the way people imagine me, which is a very weird sensation. I feel like I've lived a lot of my life in other people's imagination, and when I wrote this song, it was like I jumped into the swimming pool myself. So this is a song about me imagining living the life everyone else was imagining me living. I don't think I've ever told an audience that before. It's an entirely imaginary song about your imagination, and it's called Good Time. So I sat there and I waited like an hour, 2 hours. And the sun started to go down, and it was like this big ball of fire falling in slow motion into the ocean. Like it was lighting the whole ocean on fire. And then this plane came out of the darkness and into the glow of the sun. And it flew right into the ball of fire. And I don't know that it was her plane, but I got it in my head that it was. And I had this terrible, terrible feeling inside me that everything that I thought was so permanent was just gonna fade away. I mean, that's all we're looking for in life a lot of times. Just something, anything to last. Something that stays with us. And everything is so temporary. And then the door opened and the people came out, and Amelia walked out, and she was lovely, like she always was. And I was so happy to see her. And I thought, I'm gonna put this out of my mind. There's nothing else I could do. And we went back to the hotel, and the next day we played in Miami, and after that show we drove down to New Orleans to finish things off. And I tried to forget about it. I told myself it was probably nothing. And things were good for a while. And anyway, there's not much more you can do. When you're not sure of anything, when you think you see something that's coming, what else can you do? Nothing, really. I figured, nothing. And we went home, and it lasted for a while. This station wagon, I would climb in the back among all the bags and the blankets, and I would just stare out the window all day, or I would read. And it was the first big trip I had ever been on. And America is a vast place, so after a while, I started to imagine this whole country was just this endless maze of rivers and roads, like someone had built an obstacle course of asphalt and bodies of water. And I wondered whether we were really going anywhere. But over the course of like 2,500 miles or so, the world outside the window changed immensely, a bunch of different times, from the green, hilly Northeast I was used to the mountains of Appalachia, and finally the seemingly infinite Great Plains, and then after that the western deserts and El Paso. Because when I was a kid, roads always led somewhere. The weird thing is now I'm a grown-up, and all we do with our lives is go everywhere over and over again. But it turns out going everywhere is a little like not really getting anywhere when you just keep doing it over and over. You follow your ghosts and you chase your memories in circles around the country. And well, this reporter before the tour, for instance, he asked me, after 25 years, what did I think was the defining characteristic of this life? I thought about it and I said, it's the leaving. Because we are always leaving. And that's pretty rough on the people around us. At least we have the sensation of going somewhere, but they're just getting left behind. And it turns out all the poignant fucking songwriting in the world doesn't make it any better if you're just getting left. And you start to feel like you fail people over and over again. When I started to write this song, it was about 5 or 6 in the morning, and we were on the bus. We were driving west across Tennessee toward Mississippi and Arkansas. And I had just left someone behind a few weeks before that I thought I loved, but the way things were drifting, I could kind of tell it was over. And I looked out the window, and up ahead around a bend in the road, I could see the highway rising up over the Mississippi River. And the lights on the bridge were so bright, and they were reflected in the dark, big river below. And for a moment, it looked like the bridge was just suspended between these two completely separate layers of starlit sky. And I grabbed my phone, and I sang the first verse of this song pretty much in its entirety right there. And this ended up being the first song that we wrote for Somewhere Under Wonderland. This is God of Ocean Tides.
So, I was thinking one day that all the things that ever happened to you in your life, all your memories are like ghosts, and they just haunt you every day of your life, and that when you fall in love with someone, it's like you get on this train together, and you have to ride along with each other's ghosts, and either you can stand that, or you can't, and either you stay on, or you get off. So this is called Ghost Train.
We were kids and the plane tickets are too expensive. You can't change these things, And it was just really difficult because nobody wants to really cop to how important they feel about it, because it's a hole that you're going to fall into, And so the song is really about denial. The characters in the song keep saying to each other, no, I'm not ready for this sort of thing. Until the very end when it's too late. And they realize that what they really weren't ready for is the loss. And it's a terrible thing to find out because it's too late. Which is what it ended up being.
This is a song from our new album. It's about the difficulty in kind of re-examining your life and trying to see if where you are is where you're meant to be. It's called High Life. And it really scared the hell out of me because I thought these things in my life are getting so out of control, and I'm so wondering if it's possible to handle all these changes as they happen. And then we found out that he was dead, and I thought, well, maybe these things aren't something you can handle. Maybe this is something that's just too difficult to deal with. And here we are about to shoot this cover, and I think it really freaked me out because although fame can seem like something where you're surrounded by people all the time and it's really great and you're always among friends and among people, the fact is that it can really wig you out, and there can come a time when you feel just like you're completely and utterly alone. And I thought that he must have come to that point where he just was completely alone. And I didn't really want to get to that place myself. And about a year later, when I was writing this song, it began as a song about, like so many other songs that I wrote at this period of time, but just wanting to push everything back and just frustratingly wanting to just make everything just stop. And I thought of him because I thought it's a horrible thing to come to that place and to feel so alone because you wish you didn't have to, and you don't really want to, but you find yourself there anyways.
and it's called Catapult.
I started writing this song about 20 years ago when I was a kid, and I didn't have I had this idea, this image in my mind of what it's like to try and write a song, or that it's like this a picture of Adam on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel reaching out for God and not quite touching him. Can't quite reach it. Although it is about reaching for something like art or music that you can never quite touch, like it's something divine. But that the real crux of the song that I wanted to write was about the fact that you can spend your whole life reaching for something that you can't touch. And the real mistake is that you fail to touch anything actually that is around you, like people or that you might care about, that might actually be real, as opposed to this thing in your imagination, this divine thing that you're never going to reach. And that the song was really about not the thing you can't touch, but the thing you stupidly didn't even try to. And it's called When I Dream of Michelangelo. I just had this, and I get this feeling a lot. I think I wrote a bunch of songs about it. Just knew it wasn't going to last much longer. Not that I wasn't in love with her. This is even after her mother had gotten the fuck out of town. But I was thinking a lot about those drives, because I started thinking one day it just was going to be over soon. I don't know. For me, sometimes it doesn't matter how good it is. It's going to be over soon. So I wrote this song. I don't know why I called it what I did, because I didn't live anywhere near any place named this. But it's a song about something that matters, and you just know it's going to go. And it's just about someone named Susan. I don't know where she is now, but it's called Sullivan St.